It was raining cats and dogs outside. The lightning flashed across the dark sky with a bitter cold wind blowing past my face while I looked out of my window. It was on this dark, gloomy night that my husband was in a restaurant eating his favorite dinner after his work. He couldn't return home soon because of the heavy rain. A journalist sat across him, and slowly out of boredom, they started to build a conversation as they waited for the waiter's attention. Since my husband was a doctor man, he started to converse with him by introducing himself first. The journalist did the same, but the small talks between them soon started to gain momentum as they started to talk about their wives. It seems like both were interested to talk and blurt out of the struggles they faced in marriage life. My husband made a clear, disrespectful remark on me that I had a jealous disposition. He said that I was too possessive of him.
In a few moments, I found myself waking up with a scream by having a nightmare that my husband tried to throw me down off a 6-story building. My husband came rushing inside on hearing my scream. I narrated my entire dream, crying, but he was clever enough to convince me, saying, "Oh, come on, honey, it's just a dream. Now get up, we have a busy day ahead." He seemed to be as disturbed as I was as I told him my dream, but deep down inside, I knew he wasn't. Yet again one night, I had the same horrible dream. And this time, I just couldn't resist to ask him if he hated me for some reason. He denied it again and again, as he always does. But I was still traumatized, and I went to sleep with fear. I kept pondering about my dream, but my husband was fast asleep, snoring. As I kept wondering, I slowly fell asleep for a few seconds, owing to the tiredness of the day. Although it was a sleepless night for me because I kept hearing strange noises outside our apartment. I tried to ignore those distressing noises as much as possible, thinking that it was just the sound of the rain, but something just wasn't feeling right for me. Just as I was thinking, the lights went out. It was pitch dark that I could hardly feel anything around me. So I took the torch lying on my bedroom table, opened the door, and went to the window to have a peek outside. After seeing outside that it was just raining, I made my way back to my bedroom. To my terror, someone appeared from the dark as I was standing on the stairways and pushed me violently from behind, and I crashed to the floor with a sharp scream, hitting my head against the stone floor, almost bleeding to death, with no one to my rescue.
And yikes! I woke up with a start, hearing a random cat's loud meowing outside my window. And only then I realized that it was all just a painful dream. It took some time for me to get up out of my bed. I started to get a headache thinking about that dreadful dream. I just couldn't stop thinking about it even for a minute. My husband was nowhere to be seen. He must have gone for work. So I went downstairs to make some coffee. The headache felt like someone was thrashing my head against a wall. As I slowly went downstairs, I recalled my dream, and my body started to tremble with fear, imagining what and how I would have reacted if such a situation took place. I switched on the television to get distracted from that drama. I went to my kitchen and started preparing my coffee, but I just couldn't concentrate on what was being said on the television. And slowly as I looked out of the window, I saw a pitch black cat running across the street. It reminded me of my childhood days, where my mother told me that it was a bad omen to have a black cat pass by you. Why? Oh, just why does it happen only to me? There are billions of people in the world, and this black cat chose to walk across me? Immediately, I heard a cat scratching sound on my door. So I opened the door and went outside to check. But the cat had gone away just as I walked in. I stood outside for a few minutes and saw an ambulance pass by me. That annoying siren of the ambulance triggered my headache again. Thus, I went back to take some rest, as I felt a bit dizzy and tired.
Meanwhile, the television was running on loop. I took my coffee and started to watch the news. A reporter delivered a warning news to the citizens of my area that for the past few days, there have been a lot of murder cases being reported. Stunned by hearing that, I switched to another channel. It showed a movie clip of a villain pushing down a girl from a bridge. Very dramatic, I mused. I once again changed the channel.
I took my coffee in my hand, but I stopped as I heard a familiar voice from the television which caught my attention of a journalist reporting a disturbing news of her husband pushing his wife from a staircase. I was greatly alarmed by the coincidence that my hand started to shiver so much that some drop of coffee started to spill out of the mug. It was the same journalist's face that I had seen in my dream.
To my horror, as I slowly looked up, I heard my husband's voice from behind, calling, "Hey, honey!" The coffee mug slipped out of my sweaty, shivering hands and spilled all over the place. A mysterious cat came out of nowhere to the scene and was licking my spilled coffee. This cat reminded me of one of the lodgers who found me dead on the floor of my apartment in my dream. I thought you were at work? Yeah, but I had a very important thing to do, you know. As I looked up with terror, I saw my husband making his way towards me with an evil smile.